Morning, everybody. I want to see where my boat's at, my pirate ship. Well, it's not really a pirate ship quite yet. It's going to be painted. We're going to paint it to make it look like the Black Pearl. We're going to hoist up a pirate flag. We're going to probably get new cover and everything for it. So my hope is that by the end of summer we will have the Black Pearl in the backyard for the kids, for my grandbabies and my sons and everything, and it should be really, really fun. But let me show you how the Black Pearl progress is going along. I'll actually walk you over there. So see, we've got the walls up. We've got the slide and all that good stuff. This is going to be quite the boat, as you can see. Quite the boat once we get it all put together. My boys are at their dad's house this week, and I keep sending them pictures, and they're just like, he's telling me, oh my God, they're so excited and everything, because they got scattered. And then it got scattered out, and then it got all rainy and nasty, and we had to pause for a couple days. So yesterday was kind of the day that we were working on this, and got good progress. Very, very good progress with it. So we'll see. Maybe it can get fixed today before the next rainstorm comes in and all that good stuff. And then when they're here this weekend, we can have a pirate party or something. I don't know. Anyways, it'll be fun. Anyways. Just thought I'd let you in on a little bit of my life there of the pirate ship. You know, hey, that's what I'm doing in isolation. I have been working on my backyard, on obviously a pirate boat, on planting, focusing in on new growth, on beauty, on, just getting accomplished a lot of different things, working on a book that I hope to be releasing by the time all this COVID stuff comes out. Hopefully the book will be done. So my first book will be put it out and everything. Today I'm just working like this, working on some practitioner training, working on that book, and I've got a painting that I want to do later this night. So I'm really excited about that because I absolutely love painting. It is a great release of energy and creative flow for me. So maybe I'll share it with you. It's going to be all on vulvas. Go figure. Kendal paints vulvas. Yep, that's exactly what we're going to be doing. So that will be coming out later this evening. Yeah, I'll show you if I get it done this evening. I don't know. I'm thinking it's probably going to take me 3-4 hours to do this painting the way I really want it to get done, but I think it'll be a good way to kind of process out my day. Today I thought I first off titled this a different title today, and I don't know if you've read my article or not yet. My musing from today, this is definitely what I'm calling Beat Up Men Week. There's just so much going on and dealing with the masculine feminine relationships, COVID-19, about a lot of domestic violence, a lot of trauma, a lot of things that may have just gone kind of under the surface, that was not looked at as though it was trauma, as though it was bad, it was just like part of everyday life, not a big deal type thing, are all of a sudden actually coming to the forefront because it is so much more focused and there's no escape from each other. It is now getting to be even more and more, spotlighted in the relationships. Divorce rates are already starting to increase. I hear about massive breakups happening, whether people are married or not. If they're together, lots of breakups are happening. There's a lot more abuse going on in so many different ways. And when I say the word abuse, here's the thing. People don't think of abuse as abuse unless we see physical damage done to somebody. So if we see physical damage done to somebody by another person, then we go, oh wow, that person was abused. But we don't understand the emotional abuse. We don't understand the mental abuse, because those are things that we don't actually see. We don't see what's going on inside of somebody's mind, inside of somebody's heart, their emotions. We might see the repercussions of things as far as how they're acting in life. Something, how they might go into self-sabotage mode. They might be drinking more. All of a sudden life just isn't going quite right for them, and we go, I wonder what's going on with them. We don't understand that might be caused by something else. So right now, with all this COVID-19 stuff, unfortunately we have a grand scale increase around abuse in multiple formats, not just with our partners, but even with our children. That's the sad truth. Child services they're not able to handle all the stuff that's going on. There's so many shelters that are getting, just massive calls from women and from neighbors and from everything around the abuse that's going on with our kids and about domestic abuse. So what is domestic abuse? What is that kind of stuff? Is it just physically beating up on somebody? No, it's not. We know that at our deepest level, we do understand that, but that's typically what we pay attention to. There is emotional abuse, there is financial abuse, there is sexual abuse, there is the physical abuse, there is emotional abuse. There's so many different things. So I'm not going to hit on all of those. I have multiple different people in my world that is going through different things, and just reading up on what is going on and watching the increase statistically speaking as I go and I research before, as I'm putting together different musings for you guys and these live streams and everything, and then just putting together my for my coaching and everything, people that I'm working with, I do a lot of research around different things, and this is definitely a hot topic right now. Today's topic, though, if you have read my article, is more on domestic rape. It is not a pretty thing. It is something that we really want to cover our eyes to. We want to, stick our fingers in our ears and cover our eyes and act like this does not happen. We want to say that this is not a thing in our world. In my article, I gave the correct statistics that you are more than welcome to go explore, check it out, do your own research. But I believe I put in there 74% of married or coupled women experience some form of marital abuse, marital rape, is what it really comes down to, marital rape in the course of their relationship. Now, this is not just a one-time offense, unfortunately. Unfortunately, if it was just one time, a lot of healing could be done, a lot of forgiveness stuff, a lot of changes could be done. But the problem is that this goes on repeatedly. And no, go ahead, come in, go for the back door. Grab a cup of coffee. Miss Addison Bell is interrupting the live stream. Gee whiz. No. Friendship abuse is going to happen there. No, not really. So what does happen is that it is repeatedly going on. People are they're not understanding. So in my article, I discuss, okay, and I bring this down to marital assault, marital rape, how these two actually are so stinking similar. I encourage you to go ahead to look at that, to read that article, and to kind of see what comes up inside of you. What are some of the questions, and does any of it pertain to your home front at all? Today, though, what I really want to focus in on is the title of this Conscious Coffee is "Take Me to Church and Let Me Worship at Your Altar," right? Whoever would have thought that I was actually going to go to marital rape from that title, right? Well, here's the thing. I want to bring in some ancient spiritual texts, let's go straight to the Bible and see exactly what the Bible says about men loving their wives. Okay, I'm not going to quote the whole Bible on this. You guys know that I'm not. Occasionally I'll pull in spiritual context on stuff. This is really, really important, because for anybody who counts themselves as a Christian and who might be guilty of marital rape and not really thinking of it as marital rape, number one, read my article, follow all the stuff that I've been posting all week, and get real with that. And even if you're not counting yourself as Christian, but you count yourself as spiritual, okay, and maybe you thought that Christ was just a master teacher and kind of got things a little bit, but he's not the Savior, that's cool too. I'm not here to change your views on any of that, but what I am here to do is to bring some awareness as to what the Bible has to say about loving your wife. Okay, so in today's world, we have more and more people that are choosing not to get married, that are just living together. Well, that's still a marital situation. Okay, two people underneath the same roof, living together, paying bills together, raising children together, doing life together, is a married situation. Whether you have said "I do," have a ring on your finger, a decree, or anything else, does not really ultimately matter. You guys are living together. So this applies to all of those people out there. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 25 through 33. This is really, I think it's one of the best verses offered about how men should be treating their wives. It says to men, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. Love your wives as Christ loved the church. What does that mean? Christ loved the church by sanctifying it, by always presenting it in its most splendor, to make sure that there was really nothing wrong with it. It was always presented in its best, okay? To really focus in on its light, on its beauty, on its growth, on its potential. Okay, that there was not blemishes in it, to focus in on what love. Love makes sure that there is no blemishes, that there is consciousness there, presence there, that we are there to worship, to really feel the presence of God moving through us. Okay, to love the church as though it is ourself, because God moves through us. Taught this. Christ taught, I am the way and the light. Right? And this is this whole energy of moving through. Well, in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 25 through 33, it's clearly stated, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. Who give up yourself for her, sanctify her, present her in her splendor, without spot or wrinkle, that she might be holy without blemish. Let me state that one again. That she might be holy without blemish. Love her as your own body. He who loves his wife loves himself. Nourish and cherish her. Okay. That sounds beautiful, right? Nourish and cherish her. Love her and make her, sanctify her, present her in her splendor. In other words, you see her beauty, allow her beauty to be presented as well, and be proud of her beauty, which means also that splendor's another word for radiance. Splendor's another word for ignited. A turned on woman, a woman that is confident in herself, a woman that is not bowed down by trauma and by dis-ease that the trauma has caused, that is certain in herself, that feels creative energy moving through her, that is ignited and confident and feels safe and secure, in alignment with self, in alignment with God, in alignment with her husband, with her partner. She is a woman who is in her splendor. She is ignited. Okay? Without spot or wrinkle. Without spot or wrinkle. Spot or wrinkle, we could look at this as though this is like she's in her perfect state of being. There's no blemishes on her, right? Holy, without blemish. This means that there's no wounding. That we're not wounding her. That we are making sure that she is pure and pristine. This doesn't mean that we don't touch. This doesn't mean that we don't love. This doesn't mean that we don't enjoy, that we don't, really bring ourselves there, but we don't go in and blemish, create spots and stains and wrinkles, trauma, wounds to the church, to the wife, to the woman. Yet, here we are. In a world where 74% of coupled or married women of today claim that they are experiencing marital rape. Now, when I say the word rape, that's a really harsh word. It's a word that no man ever wants to be accused of. It's a word that no woman actually wants to ever accuse a man of. It's a word that brings fear up in us, and that we go, yeah, but is it real? Is that possible? Oh, that's horrible. Because what do we picture? We picture the worst scene possible. We picture this Hollywood display of brutality, of, a woman being held down and forcibly penetrated, and there being weapons involved, and there being physical beating up and choking and muzzling, and maybe drugs so that she is just knocked out unconscious, and maybe gangbangs, and, penetrated from all angles, and all this kind of stuff. That's what we picture when we hear rape. We picture that. We picture a woman screaming and fighting and torn up and beaten up in different ways. And then we go, well, yeah, of course that's going to be an emotional toll on her. Look at what she just went through. But we're so caught up on the physical brutality of it that we don't actually comprehend the emotional and mental that toll that actually takes. brutality. Every woman that has ever been raped, and take it from one who has right here, that rape is not necessarily about the brutality that gets to the penetration. Okay, not having a choice. It is about the having your choice taken from you and being used and then basically tossed to the side. It makes you feel like a piece of trash. It destroys you at a deep level, and it really fucks up your world. Mentally, emotionally, physically, your body just like shuts down on you. Whether you were physically beaten and abused and gang raped and everything that you can picture from a Hollywood movie, or it was just like what my article talked about today, a man who rolls over and spits in his hand and wipes his woman's genitals and just sticks it in there and has his little, 5 minutes of hoo and grunts and groans, comes and then lays back down and kisses his wife and goes, "I love you, babe. Night, night." And wakes up in the morning and acts like nothing happened and it's not a big deal. Well, that right there is the same exact emotional toll that the brutal scene that you probably picture when I say the word on a woman. It's not about the brutality. Can it be? Yes, there's an add-on to that, because now you've got the physical trauma. You've got the physical stuff going on. But anything that happens forced like that, and you might go, well, he didn't force her. Did he ask? Did he just assume? Did he warm her up at all? Was she turned on? Was she a yes? Was she a no? Was she even considered in this? Was it just her being used? Now, many men would go, I love her. I'm not using her. It's not like that. It's not like that at all. I didn't know that she wasn't into it like that. It's not, it's not that big of a deal. We have sex all the time. We've been married for this long. We have 3 kids. We have a house together, blah, 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 blah. She would have said something to me. Bullshit. 74% of women say that they are being maritally raped. So if 74% of women say that they're being maritally raped and the husbands are fucking clueless about it, then that means that the women aren't saying anything. And that it's our bad, right? Women's bad right there for not speaking up, for not speaking our truth. There's plenty of reasons for it, because unfortunately, when this happens, when marital rape happens, what a man does not understand is that this is a build-up scenario. So for somebody like myself who has experienced marital rape numerous times and who has also experienced being raped by not a stranger but somebody that I knew, okay, that if I was to experience marital rape or rape of any nature right now, unfortunately what is happening is that everything from my past is now coming up right with that moment. So my lockdown rate, and I can tell you this, that what happens for me is that my whole body, like I'm that person that always thought prior to ever experiencing anything, I would look at women and I would go, how could she have let that happen to herself? Like, I would have kicked him and I would have bit him and I would have punched him in the balls and I would have poked his eyeballs out and I would have screamed at the top of my lungs and I would have run like hell. I would have. And you know what? When I went through it, what ended up happening was my body became a limp noodle and I ran away from myself. I found myself off in a distant corner in the room watching the whole event as if I was a third party, a witness to a really bad scene. And there was no massive brutality in any of these cases that I've personally experienced. Even with the not stranger, but stranger, he wasn't a lover of mine. It was actually a client of mine. And it made it rough. Of course, that one made it rough where I had to get rid of my office and I shut down my practice for a while and I didn't trust men for a long time. And there was all this stuff and I had a lot of work that I had to go through. But even in that moment, it wasn't the brutal scene that you see in Hollywood around the word rape. And that man, he even thanked me for making him feel like a man. I'll never forget his words. As I was coming back into my body and laying there crying and shaking, he leans over to me and he looks at me and he says, "Thank you so much for making me feel like a man." he didn't understand. He did not understand what he had done. Because I didn't fight, because I was off hanging in a corner and I couldn't speak, I felt as though my voice had been taken from me and my limbs were numb, as though I had been given some anesthesia or something. And all I could feel was the flopping of my torso and my hips on the floor. And I could feel the soft friction from him because I numbed out in that department as well. And there I lay. That's all I could feel. And fear, massive fear and sadness. And I was in the corner of the room, in my mind, in my soul, in my spirit, out of body experience. And I watched. And I was just this limp noodle. And he thought it was okay. He thought it was normal. Well, here's the thing. And today, if an event happened of that nature with a stranger or with a partner, that moment is still, there's residue. There's residue inside of me. There's residue in my psyche. There's residue in my emotion. There's residue in my physical body. So the reaction that I am going to give to, let's say, a partner in that moment is a limpness, is I'm getting the fuck out of here. I can't, whoa, because I'm in shock mode and I leave. Well, here's the sad truth. A lot of women are like that. And the guys think, oh, that's okay. She didn't kick me off. She didn't scream. She didn't bite. She didn't say anything. So it's okay. Well, unfortunately, that's not treating her. That's not presenting her in her splendor. That's not holding her without spot or wrinkle. That's not making her holy without blemish. It's not loving her. It's not nourishing her or cherishing her. That's using. That's straight up using. So for any man out there who says, I love my woman and I'm not using her, that's wrong. It's not like that, Kendal. You just don't understand. You're a fool. You're a fool because you are not nourishing her. You are abusing her. You're not cherishing her. You're abusing her. You're not making her holy without blemish. You're creating some massive freaking wounds. And you're certainly not holding her in her splendor. What you're doing is killing her light. You're killing her light. You're not just dimming it. You're killing it. You're putting it out. With each action like that, you're putting it out. So you might think that you're coming to her altar, like the beautiful song says, bring me to church, right? And let me worship at your altar. Yeah, we all love that song. If it came on the radio right now, any one of us would kick into song. We'd be singing right along with him, and we would get all into it, and we'd feel all, yeah, right? And we would know that he's talking about worshiping at the altar of his lover, of his woman, right? Like he's there, he's worshiping. We can feel that. We can get all sexy and hot over it. That, though, what I just said, is not worshiping at her altar. So, how are you worshiping her? How are you sanctifying her? How are you presenting her in her splendor? How are you making sure that she has no spots or wrinkles? How are you making sure that she's holy without blemish? How are you respecting her wounds? And if you go, well, I didn't know that she had any wounds. She's alive. She has wounds. Over 60% of the adult population in the world, and it is far greater than this, has been sexually abused in some fashion. And that's not taking in on child abuse. Okay? This is just adult abuse. Okay? 60%. Now, that's the 60% that admitted to it. We have 74% of women saying that they have had some sort of marital rape experience or committed relationship marital rape experience going on. So I'd go with that one a little bit more, okay? 74% of women. So if 74% of women have experienced some sort of marital rape experience, guess what? Guess what's happened on dates? Guess what's happened in their teen years? Guess what's happened in college years? Guess what happens on a day-to-day basis to women as we receive pornographic pictures and pornographic statements sent to us, where we have requests made to us consistently, where guys just tend to think, oh, I can just slap you on the butt and it's okay. I can grab your boob and it's okay. I can run my hand on you and you should get turned on. I can run my hand on your leg or touch you in some way. I can grope you and it's okay. I can plant a kiss on your lips without your permission and that's okay. I'm just saying goodbye. It's okay. All of this stuff. Now you might say, well, Kendal, none of that's serious. Well, if she was abused anywhere along the line, whether that is childhood, which there's a massive amount of sexual trauma in childhood. I could tell you some horrific tales of clients of the past and present that would make your eyes boggle. I could tell you about 2-year-olds being used for masturbation tools. I could tell you about little girls whose uncles thought that was just cool to pass her around. I could tell you about teenagers who woke up and found themselves bleeding and all torn up from their genitals because they went to a party and somebody slipped them a drug. I can tell you about so many really bad things. And these are women that today, if you looked at them, you would go, that's not her. That didn't happen to her. She's got a great job. She has 2 kids. She has a house. She's married. She's fit. She takes care of herself. She goes to church. She's got her own business. She's got her shit together. That didn't happen to her. Yeah, because you see what happens to women who have experienced trauma of this nature, or any trauma for that sake, but just speaking as one, is that as women, we do one of 2 things. We either self-sabotage into oblivion and crash, burn, drugs, abuse, go down this nasty route and just allow ourselves to just get really used up until we die. Or we go, no man will ever control me like that. I am never going to allow that to happen to me again. I am never going to allow anything to do that to me again. And we become very, very confident, and we become very, very strong, and we become very, very certain in what we want and at all cost. And we are willing to charge for it because we go from our beautiful feminine nature, that radiance, that flow, all of that, and we figure out, hey, I can use this. I can use this to get what I need. And we use that and lean it into our strong masculine driving energy, which is what really is running us. And we do whatever it takes to get our goals accomplished. And we put our mind on those goals and we make sure that happens. And that's where we are. And we're all about our family, and we're all about our finances, and we're all about our health, and we're all about this and this and this and this. And at the end of the day, we're not going to let anything rule us anymore. Anything take our power away anymore. I know that this is a tough subject, and I've kind of leaned into it over the course of the week, talking about women's orgasms, talking about hysteria and mood swings, talking about, the health conditions that rise when a woman's not getting proper orgasm in her life, the importance of it, the importance of all this different stuff. Now we're off onto abuse and in the very, very touchy, very home front, real land of marital rape. And I know that a lot of gentlemen out there are like, damn, Kendal's like on this roll this week. And I am. And I promise you that next week I will be on the guy's side and talking about some of the issues that us women have and how we enable, and some of the things that we need to do as women to have good, strong relationships and benefit ourselves. But this right here, the reason I am so much on this week is because of COVID-19. And because of the horror stories that I have been reading for the last 4 weeks around COVID-19 and around the sexual abuse, the domestic violence, the increased marital rapes, the divorce rates, the crime that is happening inside the house with our partners and with our children. And this is a real thing. And we can choose to, do this and do this. We can choose to look the other way. But people can't get away from it right now. There's no escape. There is absolutely zero escape for a lot of women. And there's a lot of women out there that deal with far worse than anything that I have said today on this live stream or shared over the course of this week so far. Those women out there, they need help. And the shelters can't help them because they have to keep people so far apart and there's not enough space, and they're renting out hotel rooms, and they're trying their damnedest to get women to safety and get children to safety, and trying to, really make it where women are safe and not having to deal with this kind of stuff anymore. But that's a small itty bitty bracket of women that are actually getting help. The majority of women are not getting help. And the majority of the offenses are small, seemingly small. There's no physical violence going on. There's no massive stuff going on. There's no brutal fights going on. There's no physical bruises or battery going on in any fashion. There's no weapons. There's nothing like that. There's no blood shatter. There's nothing. So it seems like it's not important. Well, that's the mass majority of this. And it is important. It's extremely important. And if we choose to skip the mass number of women that are going through this right now and just disregard and ignore and claim ignorance and claim stupidity and claim that's not what it really is and make up excuses and reasons and all this kind of stuff, then we're enabling it. We are supporting it. And we are telling those women that that's exactly what they are. They're nothing more than their man's masturbation piece of trash that can be disposed, that their hearts, their emotions, their minds, their physical bodies don't really matter, and that they just need to get over it. So we are abusing right along with the abuser by supporting it, by not bringing awareness to it. So this is definitely something that needs the attention, that needs a little bit of spotlight, because I can tell you what, there's going to be more suicides based on this right here than probably what COVID can take out by itself. So give that a little bit of thought. How many of your neighbors out there, how many of your sisters, how many of your friends' wives and girlfriends, how many of your daughters and sisters are going through this? Truly, think about that. What would you give them for advice? How would you want them to, deal with this situation? Would you have a heart toward it? And what if it's you? What if it's your wife? What if it's your girlfriend? What if it's your daughter? What about that? Like, seriously, think about it. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 25 through 33. Check it out. Read it. Think about it. Explore the musing from today. Please go to my website. I would love to hear your comments on my website. I appreciate comments on my website. I love your comments here on Facebook too, your shares. If this touched you in any way, please make sure that you share this. Like I said, you can choose to enable it, or you can choose to help fight this mission against something that is actually very close to our homes and our relationships. So hit the share button, leave your comments, feel free to message me about anything that you agree or disagree on. I love your opinions no matter what they might be. And make sure that you read the musing from today on, what did I call it? I called it vehicular assault in the bedroom. Is it acceptable? So make sure that you go there and explore that. And as always, on more positive notes, I have started a free Confessions from a Sex Coach group here on Facebook. Go ahead, click on that. Make sure that you join that group. I will be doing a live stream in there every single week that you will not be able to see anywhere else. It will only be available in there. I also have online coaching available and phone, Facebook, My one-on-ones are not in person right now as much as what I would like them to be, but they still are sort of in person because we have this awesome thing called Facebook and Zoom and the phone and all that good stuff. So if you would like to explore how you can do some healing work around these situations and more, learn your woman a little bit better, learn about female sexuality, take in and make it not so complicated, heal your relationship, save your relationship from divorce, help you. I work with people globally. You can message me in the comments section for more information on that, email, text, or private message. As always, know that you are worthy. You are worthy of a beautiful, dynamic, loving relationship. You are worthy of a beautiful, dynamic, incredible, powerful life. You are worthy of health and abundance, of turn on, of connection, of intimacy. You are worthy of safety and trustworthiness. You're worthy of being valued. You're worthy of love. And you are lovable. But you've got to allow yourself to be. You've got to see this kind of stuff for what it really is. And no longer enable it, no longer accept it as your norm. You're better than that. And your life is asking more from you. As always, stop existing. Start living. I love you guys, and I will catch you tomorrow with another Conscious Coffee.